join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. Face the flag, hand on the heart. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. This is a moment of silence for our first responders and our veterans. And also keep in your thoughts tonight the family of Anna Athens. She works here in Village Hall in our rec center, and they're mourning the loss of her mom at the moment. Thank you. Good evening. Unfortunately, Mayor Pereira was not able to join us tonight. He has another commitment, but we are here in his place. Okay, can I have a motion to approve bills and payroll?
Motion.
Motion by trustee Casado. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by trustee Salaski. All in favor?
Aye.
Any against? Motion carries. Mr. Rivera.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Resolved to approve the membership of the following candidates as recommended by the Mineola Fire Department. Thomas McManus, Company 1, Jake Gandarella, Company 3.
Motion.
Motion by trustee Casado.
Second.
Second by trustee Clark, our two firefighters. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Resolved to approve a request by the Mineola Union Free School District for the use of the John S. DeVanzo Community Pool on Mondays, July 10th through August 7th from 12:15 to 1:15 p.m. for its special education summer program.
I love those motions for the pool. That means summer is around the corner. Any motion?
Motion.
Motion by trustee Salaski,
Second.
second by trustee Clark. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Resolved to authorize a permit to operate an ice cream truck on public streets in the Village of Mineola from March 16th, 2023 through November 17th, 2023 from 12 p.m. until 8:30 p.m. or dusk, whichever is earlier, to Craig Zoli, a franchisor of Mr. Softy Ice Cream, Inc.
Ice cream tomorrow. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Motion by trustee Clark, second by trustee Casado. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. See you at the ice cream truck tomorrow.
Resolved to authorize an emergency repair to the elevator at the Mineola Memorial Library. The contractor is Otis Elevator Company. Cost is $95,500. The funding source is the Library Fund 2022-2023 and/or Library Unreserved Fund Balance, and I also have the supporting resolution.
Excellent. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Motion by trustee Salaski. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by trustee Clark. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Resolved to authorize the village to not renew the elevator maintenance contract with TKE.
Gee, I wonder if that's based on the previous motion. Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Motion by trustee Casado. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by trustee Skolasky. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Chacon.
Good evening, Deputy Mayor, Board,
Good
John G.
evening.
The first item is resolved to accept the resignation of Susan Vital and authorize her benefit time payout in accordance with the collective bargaining agreement.
Okay, do I have a motion?
Motion. Second.
Motion by trustee Clark, second by trustee Casado. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you. The second one is resolved to approve annual lump sum payouts to the following Mineola Department volunteer firemen who have earned the post-entitlement service credits during calendar years 2010 to 2022, inclusive as per the Village of Mineola Service Award Program.
Okay, there's a list in front of us of everybody. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Motion by trustee Skolasky. I have a second?
Second.
Second by trustee Clark. All in-
Deputy Mayor, I need to abstain. My name is on this list.
Yes, you are. All in favor, other than trustee Casado?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Reedy.
Good evening, Deputy Mayor, members of the board, Mr. Gibbons.
Good evening.
First item I have for your consideration this evening is a request for a resolution to authorize change order number 1 to the well number 4 granular activated carbon adsorption system equipment pre-purchase contract. This is a no-cost change order, which will allow us to extend the delivery date of the GAC equipment by 60 days. The vendor for this has no problem doing that. I don't want these pieces of equipment sitting on the ground waiting to be installed because they can start to rust. There's a lot of stainless steel parts on this, so they're willing to hold off for up to 60 days. The original delivery date was April 5th, but the contractor, the GC, is not going to make that time frame of getting in the footings and the foundation that need to support these pieces of equipment. So they've agreed at no cost to us or them to hold on to it and deliver it by, I believe it's June 9th.
Excellent. No cost, sounds good to me.
Always.
Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Motion by trustee Casado. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by trustee Skolasky. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The next item I have is a personnel item, and that's a request for a resolution authorizing the hiring of Fernanda Vieira of East Meadow for the messenger position in the Water and Sewer Division of the Department of Public Works and an annual salary of $55,000. As the board is aware, we do have a posting up for this position. We do need someone in that office as well as being able to go back and forth, doing deliveries and things like that to Village Hall. So we are recommending this person for that position.
Excellent. Can I see a motion?
Motion.
Motion by trustee Clark. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by trustee Skolasky. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you. That's all I have.
Thank you. That will close our work session. I am going to just roll right into the public meeting, if that's okay with everybody. Okay. Mrs. Glassman. Oh. Great, thank you.
Two things, rather brief. Number one, good evening, everybody, and thank you for what looks like we're at the end of a long, long road with 150 Jerome Avenue, because I did hear from the builder, and thanks to Mr. Turncost over at Mr. Gibbons' office. He's been super communicative, and we think we will begin some demo, or at least the first steps of that. The weather didn't help this week, but he
Yeah.
was trying to shoot for this week. So thank you very much for all your help.
You're very
And it's
welcome.
been wonderful to know that he had that cooperation.
Thank you, Mr. Gibbons and his whole office.
Yes, really. It's a long, long haul. All right, secondly, I have a little issue at my house. I have a two-car driveway, and I requested that a no parking sign with a little arrow be placed, because in the last 3 or 4 months, I've had to call the village, and they've very quickly come to ticket what needed to be ticketed, but they hang over the driveway quite a bit. Now, I know Mr. Rainey had read my letter, but I think he misunderstood my request a little bit, so I want to just clarify it.
Okay.
I don't need 2 signs, I don't need additional signs. There is a stake in the ground already, as you can see from one of the pictures, designating the time and side of the street. So just below that, on that same stake, if we could just put a no parking with the arrow covering those 2 feet, that would be sufficient. I don't need anything on the other side, because the other side of the driveway is not a complete length of a car anyway, between myself and the other neighbor. But it's happening a lot, and when the snow comes and the plows have to put it someplace, but then the parkers use where the snow mound is as their border, so now they're even further encroached upon the exiting of the driveway. And because we're so limited, I do have a neighbor is parking in my driveway because he has no place to put his car at all due to a common driveway, and every member of every family usually has a car. We do have a parking problem, but I'm trying to help the neighbor out as well as myself. But I have to almost angle out of the driveway many times, and I'm assuming Mr. Rini came by when it was a work day. And on the work days, there's alternate side. So on the weekends and evenings, if I'm coming out of the driveway, there's usually another car parked across the street. Now I'm angling to try and not hit this fellow on my left, not hit the fellow in the back, and it's really difficult. And I can't have any company. The 90-minute parking is in front of the house. This is on the side on Horton. So it becomes a real issue, and I'll pay for the sign. I'll use the 2 screws to put it on the stake that already exists. If we could just have a little arrow to keep them about a foot away from the apron.
So, living in Mineola, I think I can speak for myself, I'm sure the rest of the board can. I feel your pain in parking. Parking is definitely at a premium in Mineola as an entire village. I personally, on my street, everyone has more than one car. There's people to the end of everybody's driveways. There's people behind me when I come out. My children just learned how to drive. They had to learn how to back out on an angle because of the cars. It's just kind of what it is here. That said, and it being a premium, I've seen Mr. Rini's notices, and I know that Mayor Pereira is also involved. I don't think that we could accommodate that, even though it's 2 feet, a sign to say you can't park there. If they're in your driveway, yes, it's a violation, I get it. But if they're parking to the edge of your apron, it's really not a violation. And if we started to accommodate that for you, we'd have to accommodate it for everybody else who requests it, and now we're gonna really give ourselves a parking problem.
I can appreciate that too, but it's not to the apron. They're over the apron most of the time.
I know that, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Rini, if they're over the apron, a ticket is valid. So if they're
They
over the
have been
apron,
given them.
the ticket's valid. So
Yes.
if they keep parking over an apron, they're gonna get a ticket. But if they're parking to your apron, it's not a valid
No, that I
violation.
understand.
So and that stake you're talking about is 2 feet before the apron. So we honestly can't give that up. I mean, I know it's inconvenient for you, but I also know that if you did that, I would love to do that on my street. I can't accommodate it because then everybody's gonna do that, and then we're gonna have parking issues across the entire village.
Well, that's disappointing. I just hope that one day, my car doesn't bend in half.
I know. Listen, I feel your pain. I'm telling you, I just had 2 16-year-olds learn how to drive and learn how to back out of a driveway on an angle without hitting my car parked there, the neighbor's car parked there, and the neighbor's car behind us. So, I mean, I think we all do feel that. We feel your pain on that, but we're just in a 40 by 100 properties. We don't have very large spans of space for cars, and people are gonna just try to figure it out.
Is this a neighbor who's parking there?
Pardon me?
Is it a neighbor that's parking
No,
there?
no. He's parked on my driveway.
Right, is it a neighbor, or is it someone local, or is it?
It's my neighbor.
Oh, okay.
No,
Yes.
who's parking who's encroaching your driveway?
The neighbor is
it's
not
just a
encroaching
visitor.
in the open space on the apron. He's parked where he's supposed to be, and he's not in anybody's way, including myself. But they are of a family of 4, like you say, with 2 boys, and
Yeah,
they
we
don't
all
have
a lot of
room.
cars.
So I'm allowing him to stay on, it's a 2-car driveway. The apron is kind of just about 2 cars, because I made him pull the car out to see if we could even both get out of that apron at the same time, and we just about make it.
I'm kind of jealous that you have a 2-car apron, because I do not.
I do feel very fortunate in that regard, and I'm able to help him out, but we
Yeah.
have a little barter situation. I said, I do hope I see your face when it snows. So
It's
we're
neighbors helping
we're
neighbors.
helping each other in that
Neighbors
regard.
helping neighbors. I love
I
it.
mean,
I
that's the
love
way
it.
it works.
Yeah. Yes, yes, please, Mr. I know you're very familiar with the situation.
I'm not,
Nice to meet you, by the way. I never met you personally.
thank you, you as well. Just to your point,
Yes.
as just putting a sign with an arrow, unfortunately, with restriction signs, the law doesn't allow us to just do that, because you have to have a start and an ending point. So if I put an arrow, that means it's going to
not
infinity,
up to the
basically.
driveway.
Exactly.
Oh.
So there always has to be a start and an end
I
point.
didn't know that.
So, yeah, that's why it makes it a little difficult to
So
do something in
You'd
these.
have to put them on both sides.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. So, just to clarify that.
Well, I tried.
I'm sorry. I'm very sorry we couldn't accommodate it, but
All right, thank you.
you're welcome.
My name's Don Granito, 207 Willis Avenue.
Hi there, how are
How you doing? I'm here to discuss one issue.
Yes.
We have a lady who's been homeless for a decade. I wrote here in 2012. We've been 2 administrations, okay? Governor, whatever, Mayor Strauss, and I guess Mayor,
Mayor Martins,
the guy's here right now, who just came in.
Mr. Pereira, Mayor Pereira.
Okay, she lives on 2nd Avenue,
Yep.
Willis. What are we doing?
So I know exactly who you're speaking of. I think probably everybody in our village knows who you're speaking of. We are well aware of who she is. The Nassau County is well aware of who she is. We have POP cops, problem-oriented policing, for them. They know her personally. They know her name. They check on her almost daily. The rule and the law in our state, and correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Gibbons, in our state is if they deny assistance, we can't pull them off the
You
street.
know, she has no capacity to fight for herself. This mental impairment, I have a mental impairment, okay, I have ADD, HD, I'm on SSDI, I have to take, she has no capacity to fight for herself.
I
This
understand that.
is insanity. What does it say about us as human beings? What if that was your kids? What if that was your grandchildren? And what if that was your parents? What kind of law is this?
I agree with
And
you.
this, you people need to get to Chuck Schumer. We need to change this freaking law. You can't let this lady sit there. This is insanity.
I agree with
You
you.
should be on the phone with the freaking, who's this freaking county executive now? Tell me his name.
Bruce Blakeman?
Blakeman. What is going on beyond the, I'll even start with the other nuts that's going on over at this stupid bar I've been going to for a decade, and they're shooting stuff at my heart. I have to go to the 3rd precinct, and I didn't want to get into this, okay? And now I have to file a report, and they had to do an investigation. Then Warner's Deli, then the library, the constant harassment going on in this village. We don't unify a community this way. We let a man sit there and make fun of people with impairments constantly on that reference desk. He's been doing it for a decade. But you know what? I've gotten used to him. I've talked to him.
Where is this?
Your library is a disgrace. No, 99% of those people are good people. But you let that man sit there on the desk making fun of people all the time.
So I am unfamiliar with who you're
John,
speaking of.
John, I'm talking about John on that reference desk.
Well,
Now,
I will gladly
I've
look into
gotten
that
used
for
to
you.
him. I laugh at him at this point. I laugh at him.
I will
pay the
definitely look into
tickets
that
now.
for you.
You don't unify a community by you don't unify a community by dividing them economically. I listen to your codes. I listen to your nonsense. We have to go back to 1997, folks. When go back to,
I'm gonna stop you
No,
there.
I'm not gonna
sorry,
stop. Here's the
because
problem.
I can't speak to things that happened in 1997.
No, but
I can
you
speak to
wanna
things
understand
now
why, you
within the
understand.
power of
The
our board.
division has happened because the Federal Reserve, no, you're gonna listen. The Federal Reserve, over the last, you guys wanna know why your housing prices are $600,000, $700,000, $800,000, and then because the Federal Reserve, when Bush came in here, for 20 freaking years, decided to go 2%, 3%, and everybody comes into New York, and the next generation can't afford anything, and all they build is luxury housing that nobody can afford. That's where we're heading. Why are we doing
I
this?
hear your frustration.
No,
I hear your
but the
frustration.
bottom line
But
is we need to-
unfortunately, this board could only address things that
We
this
need
board
to deal
could.
with this lady.
Correct.
She can't be on the street for a decade.
I'm gonna say it again. This board
This
could
is
address.
nonsense. I will go to Schumer. I will write to
Great.
Schumer, and I will do it.
Great. Do it. And I think
You guys need
everybody
to do
should it.
something. This is ridiculous.
Okay,
I'm willing to
okay.
listen.
Okay.
That's,
Have a good day, guys.
thank you, that's
Thank
enough.
you. We hear your frustration. And
You
we,
should be disgraced.
Thank you.
As a
Thank
board,
you.
you should be disgraced as a community that somebody could sit on out there homeless. And
Thank you.
We need to get our housing. Have a good day.
you as well. Mr. Ward, would you like to come up?
nice.
Always. Thanks for having me. I just wanted to talk about, I wanted to thank the board and for standing up to the Kathy Hochul's housing compact, I believe they call it,
Yes.
where this board and some other local government officials are standing up to what looks to be a big change to Long Island if it gets approved during the
Yes.
budget cycle. So I thank you all for that. But I had a second part of the discussion I wanted to bring up was, I know that the board approved a building permit for a new building to go on Searing Avenue,
Yes.
and they granted them a very large variance to build well above the height that it's zoned for on that block.
It's no larger than the homes that are there, the buildings that were recently put
Right.
there.
But I believe there was a variance provided to the,
It's the same size. Yeah, there was a development incentive bonus consistent with the neighbor to the west.
that's true, but the building code on the block is a certain height, and you guys granted them almost more than double.
Well, I understand what you're saying, but that block is no longer private homes. It's been all the buildings.
I understand.
Right, so it's it's in line with those. Yes, you're all correct.
So, when I opened the paper today, I saw that the IDA is now going to have a hearing on that building,
Okay,
and they are seeking tax abatements on that building.
yes.
So the developer came here, and we granted them a very generous package and allowed them to build twice the height. You want to say something?
No, I was just gonna comment on the taxes. Every developer who builds in the village executes a host community benefit agreement, so we get 100% of village taxes.
I understand. But the village tax is a small component of the taxes that have to be paid by the
It's the
single.
only thing we have control of.
Well, that's one reason why I'm here, because I would like to state that if you're going to grant someone a variance to build oversized properties, then why don't you negotiate with them and say, look, we'll let you have this, but if you go to the IDA, we're not going to allow it. So you have some bargaining power before you give the permit.
I don't believe that's,
The IDA exists as a matter of state law, and a developer is allowed to avail itself of the IDA if it meets the criteria. And again, we don't have any control over that. In addition to 100% of the taxes also, we have gotten millions of dollars of development money
Yes.
that we've used for purposes to benefit the village.
They give you the incentive bonus
Yeah.
to build, buy bricks and
But
lights
if we
and
could
stuff.
stop them from going to the IDA, we
Yeah.
probably would.
we would.
But it must be a way to negotiate with them. As they're standing here with their attorneys, that you'll make some consideration for this height variance you're granting them to not go for a tax
I
abatement.
mean, every development that at least that I've been involved in, there's always a negotiation, making sure that it's beneficial to our village to have them as part of our village. But to Mr. Gibbons' point, the IDA is out of our range because it's a state law, and we don't really
No, I
have the
understand.
bargaining, that's not a bargaining chip of ours because it's not our,
But it's a bargaining chip before it gets to them, because they have to come here first. And that's all I'm saying, is work that side of it before you just give them a
I
variance.
hear you. I mean, I appreciate your intent. I'm just not sure if it's legal.
I can say with complete honesty that there has not been a developer that has negotiated with us that is left happy. I guarantee you that, and you can ask every one of them.
Well, I thank you for that. But, and that's my point, but it kind of comes full circle back to what I started with, because Kathy Hochul is going to mandate a lot of things if you don't agree with her. And the control of whatever development comes is going to be, run by a state agency. And once we allow these local developers, and I have nothing against them, but we allow them to go to the IDA, they're in control then. They have the power, because the IDA then owns the building and the land until that mortgage is paid off over 20 years. So it's essentially the same thing that Kathy Hochul is doing. You're granting the IDA the power. A couple of years ago, and
It's
Mr. Gibbons...
kind of, I'm sorry to interrupt you, it's kind of not the same thing, because the building that is allowed there, we still have total say in what kind of development that is. If they get a tax relief, it doesn't affect the type of building they could build. What Governor Hochul is trying to do is she's trying to take control over what kind of buildings and developments could happen at the local level, and that definitely changes the landscape 100%. It's a financial thing, the IDA, where this is truly changing the landscape of Long Island.
But what I was gonna say, and I think Mr. Gibbons interfered about a year ago, there was another developer in town who has a large building here, and he was gonna extend his tax abatements 10 extra years. And it almost got there, but Mr. Gibbons and his team was able to stop it.
Yes.
So there's a certain amount of control we do have and a certain amount of control we don't have. And it's really important
There is.
because every year you're giving more and more land over to the IDA. So that's my point.
Well, I appreciate it. I think we'll think it through when we're doing these things. And,
Thank you.
We'll let everybody know we don't want,
Because I know there's
Governor
more in
Hochul's-
planning and there's more in design at this current time, and they're all going to be here.
right. Well, thank you. I appreciate your concern.
Thank you.
Anyone else in the public wishing to speak? Can I entertain a motion to close the public meeting? Oh, I'm sorry. We did not do any of I have a couple of statements to say. I keep forgetting this. Okay, a couple of things coming up. On 3/21, March 21st, it is the village election. Our own trustee, Sklaski, is up for re-election, so I encourage everyone to come and vote. That's on the 21st from 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. here at Village Hall. And on April 1st, we are having the MAA parade, which is always a fun parade right here on Willis Avenue. We have new, beautiful turf fields to celebrate this year. So that is on April 1st. And on April 4th at 5 p.m., there is the Mineola Macaroni Night, which is held, it's a fundraiser for the Inn homeless shelter down in Hempstead, and the event is held on April 4th at 5 p.m. in our high school. So I encourage everyone to attend that as well. And with that, Trustee Casado.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Good evening, everybody. Again, a reminder, March 26th, Sunday, the following Sunday, the juniors' annual pasta dinner. Please come out and support them. They're an excellent organization, our future firefighters. And with that in mind, I want to talk about our present firefighters. This past Sunday morning at 1:51 a.m., they responded to a working house fire. Fortunately, there were no injuries or fatalities. It was a very bad fire. When we rolled up, flames were pouring out the windows. So the guys did a great job. So again, kudos to our Mineola Fire Department. That's it.
Yes, we are very.
Oh, and you know what? I want to thank our neighboring fire departments who gave us mutual aid support. Wilson Park, East Wilson, Garden City Park, and New Hyde Park. It's an automatic mutual aid assistance, and they do what needs to be done. So now I'm done.
Thank you, Mineola Fire Department. We definitely really value them. Trustee Clark.
Thank you, good evening. This Friday is St. Patrick's Day, it's finally here. So everyone have a happy and safe St. Patrick's Day. The Irish American Center on Willis Avenue will have their annual St. Patrick's Day party. It starts at 6 p.m. Everyone is welcome, the doors are open to anyone who would like to attend. It really is a very pleasant evening, so please come down and have a nice time. Also, the bishop has given a special dispensation for those who abstain from eating meat on Friday, allowing that to happen so you can enjoy your corned beef sandwiches. And this past weekend was daylight savings. If you haven't done it yet, please change the batteries in your smoke detectors and CO detectors. Have a good evening.
Thank you. Trustee Sklaski.
I just want to follow up on what Deputy Mayor Santori said. The parade route has changed for the Little League Parade. So those who have been watching it on Jericho Turnpike, it will not be there. And if I can find my quick letter, it's going to be south on Union Street to 2nd Street, west on 2nd Street to Willis Avenue, north on Willis Avenue, and then right into the Little League complex. So those who have traditionally watched it on Jericho Turnpike, it will not be there. So just so you're not sitting there waiting for a parade that's never going to come by you. And then the village has announced its concerts in the park. If you haven't seen that, go to the website and you will see them. And in addition to that are the new food trucks that will be at the park. So those of us who have brought our own food and eaten at the concert, you'll now be able to purchase food at those trucks. And that's all I have.
Wonderful. Thank you. Anything else? Okay, I entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
Motion, oh,
Second.
sorry.
Motion second.
Motion by trustee Skoski, second by trustee Casado. Thank you, everybody. Have a wonderful week.